What's up, everybody? It is, of course, your boy, Legal Mindset, an American attorney over here in Asia. And this is the Legal Mindset where we teach you to be your own judge. Good morning, good evening, or good night, everyone. I hope you are having a great one out there. We're going to have a banger today. A lot of news. In fact, so much news that I had to add a story when I woke up today, thanks to my good hombre, Mexican Iron Man, who sent me over an additional story. So we're going to talk a little bit. We have a Disney story today. So on tune, Disney continues to give us legal news and legal updates almost every other day. Think about that. What other corporation in America can literally have a lawsuit filed against them on a weekly basis? If not once or twice a week, they'll at least have either a lawsuit filed, a major case update, threats of litigation, potential litigation, huge legal issues, huge compliance issues. Only Disney can do that. So we'll talk about that as well, because we have news on that, breaking news actually. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the Logan Paul stuff. And I'm not a person who's covered that from beginning to end. I know a lot of other people, streamers, they just see celebrities and they'll do stuff on celebrities automatically. But this one was a little bit interesting because, look, I have, let's say I've dabbled in crypto. I may know a thing or two about crypto. And there are some interesting things about the proposed settlement that people should be aware of, right? So that's coming out right now. And Naka said, did he actually give someone some money now? Well, allegedly, we're going to see, right? We're going to see that and what went down there. But first, I want to give a quick shout out to everybody in the chat today. What's up? Good to see you. Also, we are on Rumble. Sorry about the thumbnail on Rumble. That's actually the reason why I was late. Sometimes Rumble doesn't like updating the thumbnail when you use a template. I don't know what's going on with that. Rumble sometimes needs to get its shit together. But that said, we are live on Rumble. We're also live on Locals as well. So no matter where you want to be, you can come and hang out with Papa Mindset and the squad. Also, the first poster today, I believe, was, other than Danielle, I'm not counting my mods here, other than Danielle, was Elizabeth Me. So Elizabeth, congrats on being number one. Also, we got a member chat from Ike Avarnis, who says a new lawsuit every week must be Disney magic. I have to get more sound effects in here, because all of my current like videos and sound effects and clips here, all of these clips like are 100% able to get me in trouble. So I have to get some ones that will not get me in trouble. I do appreciate that a lot of other channels have those. So I'm working on that. But yes, every single week, that's something only Disney can do. But to warm us up, to get us in the mood for starting this day of talking about a lot of lawsuits, let's go to court and let's watch a little bit of video here from court, just to get us in the right mood. I want you guys to have the right mood here today as we start this out. So I've got this video for you. If you have not seen this, this is one of the best videos out there right now. Just take a little watch about this video. This is absolutely great. Let me just play this for you.
I appreciate that, but I think it's time that he gets a taste of something else, because I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court.
If you guys did not see that video, just this part here. So the judge, what's happening here is the judge is denying his probation. Look at this jump. Let's watch it one more time. Look at this. Just the guy straight clears the bench. And then the other thing to look for is look at the police officer that misses the tackle. You can see his head. Look, one more time. Watch this.
I appreciate that, but I think it's time that he gets a taste of something else, because I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court.
Right there. So the cop here completely, he actually misses and runs into the table. Guy clears himself completely over. The cop doesn't even get an ankle, right? Guy completely eats himself over on target. And And shout out to the honey badger of a clerk that is on it right away. Guy is little, doesn't know how to punch, but he's on right away. This was one of the biggest, the craziest clips I've seen. This is like the, oh man, this is really one of the craziest court clips I've seen in a while. Yeah, that guy on the side, this guy's a clerk. So this guy's a clerk on the right. I'm pretty sure that the person who missed here was a cop, because this looks like a police uniform with the short sleeves. Like, I'm pretty sure this black uniform here is a cop that just whiffed. Pretty sure on that. This is a clerk, but this is a cop. Yeah. He didn't get that. He didn't get that probation he wanted. So, oh man, that is great. That's going to be a future training video. Absolutely. By the way, shout out from Law of Self-Defense. Holy F, Law of Self-Defense is here. Imagine if he had an invite link. Andrew, I don't listen. I am not bullied into sending invite links. However, because you sent me $20, I will send you an invite link. All right, Andrew. So I will allow that for you selectively, because I think you had a couple things to say about that eating video. So Bronca, check out your X. You got me invited in a link on X. All right. So appreciate that. All right, next, I want to, before we get into this, let us watch a brown guy clapping a blonde's cheeks. And I have not seen anything like this since I've seen some pretty degenerate stuff when I was younger. This is, of course, when I say a brown guy clapping a blonde's cheeks, I am talking about Vivek Ramaswamy. If you guys have not seen this clip of him absolutely nuking this reporter over white supremacy, this is golden. This is golden. And by the way, Paul Clink says, both the leap and struggle in slow-mo, awesome. Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Like, just the ability to clear that bench, impressive. But let's hear what let's watch Vivek clap these cheeks. This right here, this clip, is how you shut down the media, the woke left, when they're talking about white supremacy. Watch this clip.
Let's talk about what white supremacy and what happened last night for a moment, because when you were talking to reporters last night, you called white supremacy a myth. When someone asked you about Dylan Roof, you said you didn't know who that is. Have you looked up what happened in 2015?
Yeah, look, I said this last night. Invidious racial discrimination is wrong no matter how it happens. But if a Washington Post reporter is asking me almost like a catechism, whatever question I said, I'm against invidious racial discrimination, whatever form it takes, but says, do you denounce white supremacy? It's incumbent on us for us to define what white supremacy is. I wrote my book, Woke Inc., and I've written about the detailed understanding of what the popular understanding of these terms have come to mean. Do you believe punctuality is a vestige of white supremacy, Dasha?
Look,
because if you don't, then you have a disagreement about many of the people who are defining those terms, or the written word, or the use, or the nuclear family. These aren't my words. These are the words of intellectual proponents, from Ibram Kendi to the Ayanna Presleys to BLM, that have said these are vestiges of white supremacy. So
Mr.
we can't have it both ways. We have to have an honest discussion.
Straw man arguments.
This is not a straw man.
You brought up Jussie Smollett as the best example of white supremacy.
Was the hottest thing in news in the back of a fake actual attack on him that we have to contend with.
And yet you have examples like the Buffalo shooter in New York just in 2022.
You have other examples.
But you are also cherry picking when you bring up Jussie Smollett.
I'll look at all of the statistics. More black on black crime. If you really care about actual crime against black Americans, let's get to the root causes of it in the inner cities of this country.
The Anti-Defamation League tracked a 38% increase in white supremacist propaganda last year.
Who's tracking that?
The Anti-Defamation League.
Yeah, the ADL, I don't think is a particularly credible source.
So
that to me right there, like, I'll pause it here. And by the way, welcome, Andrew.
Hey,
just watching,
how are
just
you?
watching it. Just watching an Indian clap a blonde. This to me, like, once again, so perfect and just like so well delivered on point, where like she quotes the ATL and it's like, and the ATL is absolutely not a credible source on any statistics whatsoever. They're completely lost all credibility. They're being sued over that, in fact, right now. So it's like, yeah, that maybe we shouldn't be quoting the ADL on your major news network. By the way, Mario says the clerk better get a raise or a heavy bonus. Yeah, we'll go back to talk about that because I know Andrew's got something. But let me finish this clip here.
Who are we supposed to look to when we're talking about
I would suggest look at there's a table, 2x2 table, a federal law enforcement data, which you could say what you do. Maybe we shouldn't believe that either. But
okay,
look at black
the
on Asian crime, black on black crime,
the FBI
white on
hate
black
crime
crime.
statistics. That's a law enforcement agency. 59.1% was based on race,
I look at
ethnicity,
absolute
and
violence.
ancestry, saying hate crimes rose 12% between 2020 and 2021.
Look at the absolute.
Look at this fat hoe.
What they clap.
So, and the fat hoe has nothing to say. She has nothing to say on this because literally they're just and the blonde too. The only thing she can do is read off her clipboard.
She's like a testament to why women should not be put in charge of important things.
It's like exactly debate here. It's like she cannot actually debate. She's got to read off of a list. Because
would you put her behind the yoke of an airliner with 400 people on board? Would you put that broad in charge of that plane? Of course not. She's incompetent to do anything other than be a woman.
Classify as a hate crime is itself a political judgment. I think that when you actually care about protecting life, if you want to say Black Lives Matter, let's look at where Black lives are actually being lost. It's in the cities, at the heart of other Black Americans and criminals.
And that's absolutely an issue that we talk about as well. But are we supposed to ignore white supremacist hate crimes?
We're not supposed to ignore any kind of crime, Dasha. That's what I say. But what I see is a selective reporting. Take the Nashville Transgender Shooter Manifesto. Every shooter manifesto in a mass shooting has been released within 48 hours, except for that one shooter in Nashville.
Why would you ask an Indian about
leaked. What do you see?
Statistical
data. It wasn't
right. That's the other thing too. It's like, guys, like, come on, man, you're getting clapped by stats. This guy's got them all memorized, and you know he's won the spelling bee. I mean, come on.
A white supremacist.
He's got like a little database chip
using derogatory terms. I believe.
Okay, so why are you okay talking about that manifesto and not talking about the manifesto from the 2015?
I'm more than okay talking about both, but what I'm asking is why is the mainstream media suppress that one? Why did the police suppress that one? Why was that the one shooter manifesto that of all of the mass shootings, every other shooter manifesto has been released? I'm focused on that one because that's the one that's been hidden from us. And it comes back to the point of my candidacy and the way I'm going to run this country. Trust the people with the truth. If it doesn't match your narrative,
the reality is right now,
I think the media did not hold the police accountable. They would have been demanding that.
Starting to gain traction with the Black community, with Latino voters. Do not worry that your rhetoric is pushing them away. There are folks.
To the contrary, I think we're going to bring Black people into this movement.
Those boots are made for loneliness.
And I love it. Like the other great thing is he's got like the two soy boys doing the research in the background, you know, like one guy over here, one guy over here, mostly empty office, you know, as news becomes irrelevant.
Well, you know what?
The ugliest boots I've ever seen on a woman. Look at them.
I think the color combination doesn't help either. I'm just saying.
Corruption. If you had somebody who actually one of a prominent Black influencer the other day, what did she say? I've been Black my whole life, and this man could actually unify this country in response to a long exchange I had with a Black pastor who had an event here in Iowa, did challenge me with a hard question, asking me, are my views against affirmative action, how do those align with historical racial injustice?
Affirmative action is a debate that is being had.
If I may just finish this.
It's actually not a debate. It kind of got blown out of the fucking water in the Supreme Court.
He's like, bitch, shut your mouth.
Well, no, it's like, look, it's rude. I mean, it's rude as hell. It's not even a gender thing at this point. It's just she's being rude. And Piers Morgan, somebody says it in the chat. I think I saw it. It's sort of the Piers Morgan style of interviewing where you're not even letting him finish a point. Right, you're asking him a question.
Just run him over. It's like a cement truck. You're just running somebody over with a cement truck.
Right. That's not a debate. That's not even a discussion. You have a point and you want to yell at them. Right. It's a blonde feminist with hurt feelings. Yeah, except for as a network, right? In the embodiment. Let's let him finish.
Let me finish my point.
Deal with racism.
I think I will be better.
You're denying that racism is a problem.
I've never denied that racism is a problem. And if you listen to the response I gave to that Black pastor, my whole point is racism has been a major problem for much of our national history. but we're getting close to the promised land that Martin Luther King envisioned. We're as darn close to it as we ever have been. And so what bothers the heck out of me is it's right when we're close to that promised land. Martin Luther King said it, I may not get there with you, and he didn't get there with us. But I think it desecrates the legacy of our civil rights movement, desecrates the legacy of Martin Luther King, that right when we get closest to the point of having racial equality and gender equality and even opportunities for people of minorities of many types, are we perfect? No. But are we as close as we've ever been? Yes, we have. To then obsess over systemic racism, to then obsess over white guilt and otherwise, we're creating new waves of racism, Dasha, that we otherwise would have avoided right when we're closest to having achieved what even the proponents of the civil rights movement would have dreamed of.
I'm gonna stop it there because the rest is pitch.
I have a question for you. So
Sure.
everything that guy says sounds great to me. I love it.
Yes.
It's consistent with my own beliefs. But I still don't trust that MFer. I don't trust that MFer. No. He feels to me like a guy trying to sell me a bad car. And I don't know why. That's an emotional reaction. It's not a rational reaction. So I'm amenable to persuasion, but I'm wondering how you feel about it.
No. Oh, yeah. No. Look, with Vivek, he's saying all the right things, but he just doesn't have a track record, right? So you don't really know with Vivek, like what he would actually support because he hasn't been in office, right? So because he's going for the top slot, it's like, yeah, everything he's saying. And by the way, he's crushing it on social media. All of the things he is saying has been killing it, right? And I think he knows the talking points very well, and he knows.
I think he's very good at that. I think he's very good at testing, double testing, by testing, whatever.
He's jumping on X. He's jumping on the other platforms. He's debating people. He's getting the most experience this cycle of anybody at talking. But it's really easy to talk. It's hard to govern. So that's the one thing with Vivek. It's like he has zero.
But who's good at governing? I mean, who would we elect that's good at governing? Because I would say, listen, I'm a guy who voted for Trump twice. He wasn't good at governing. I mean, I would vote for him a third time. But he was not a great governor. The trouble is, if you want to drain the swamp, it's hard to find a good governor, right? Because all the governors are from the swamp.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard. It's really hard. So that's why it's always that sort of, you trust the outsider to come in and clean it up, and you hope that he's able to clean it up fast enough before it corrupts him or before he gets derailed, right? And by the way, I don't think, I mean, look, say what you will about Trump, and I think he made some horrible picks in his appointments, right? When he came in, I think that was one of the biggest things that is the failing with Trump. But at least the power of him was he was an outsider, and then he's not inside the system, right? The system clearly rejects him. The uniparty clearly rejects him on both sides of the aisle.
And that was the strength of his enemies, because what they did was they demonized anybody who would dare work for him. So who was available for him to pick? Not normal people in government, right? Because they all knew, they were told, we will destroy you if you work for Trump. So he wasn't the normal, elected president who could say, all right, now these guys from academia, the guys who were in office 20 years ago, I can choose from whoever I might like. No. He had to pick from the weirdos, the people who are outside the swamp, right?
Yes. And the thing is, the choices, you have to kind of screen those choices very well. And you can't just, and this is Trump's Achilles heel, you cannot just pick people based on loyalty. And
we see it today, right? It's the Laura Loomers. I'm sorry, I don't know your personal opinion on Laura Loomer.
Well, I don't know. Honestly, I don't have enough information to judge her personally, but just based on what I've said, look, it seems like the one Achilles heel is being a little bit more susceptible to the people that will be yes men rather than the people that will sometimes challenge you. You do need some people that will challenge you a little bit, not a lot, but like a little bit, right? So yeah, but like I said, I'm voting. It's Trump and Biden. I'm voting for Trump. So it's not even. It's not even a.
No,
it's not.
I've got question. I've got a basket of 500 ballots here in my basement. No, I'm just kidding.
You're in Colorado, so the question is, does your ballot matter? Right?
No, if the ballot is Donald Trump against any Democrat, Donald Trump's getting my vote 100%.
Yeah. Let's get some of these super chats. Shadow said would love to see him as president. I don't think he'll be president. I think Vivek is angling for the VP slot, and frankly, Trump would be wise to pick him. But also Trump, I mean, that might be a little bit dangerous for Vivek because, obviously, sitting second seat to Trump is a spicy position. So
no,
we have to navigate
he should
that
wait.
well.
He should wait. He should wait. 4
Not
years.
take VP.
No.
Oh, really? That's an interesting.
Get Trump off the table, and do it from kind of a relatively clean slate from there. But that only matters if a Republican wins. I mean, if Biden gets reelected, we're all dead.
It's
anyway,
over.
So.
Yeah, it's over. It's GG. We're World War III.
I hope you bought your guns, everybody. I hope you got your guns and ammo. Get them now.
Paul Klink says for $1.99 caught my comment that I said he won the spelling bee. Hey, listen. I'm just calling it out. Listen, step your game up, okay? Step your game up, white kids. We got to start winning spelling bees again. I'm just saying. Let me see. Mario Trujillo says that Clerk better get a raise or a heavy bonus. Yeah, I think it was actually you, Bronca, that I saw was like calling out this Clerk that like here.
All right. In fairness, what I said was that Clerk's. Okay, go ahead.
Here's the Clerk right here. So this is the Clerk right here. So this is the guy right here. He immediately, with the mouth open, he immediately spots it and he jumps on the guy right away. Right. So hold on. Are you not in this? Oh, there we go. Sorry, Andrew. I don't know what the fuck happened.
I'm good.
But so he jumps on him right away. But the problem is, if you see when like he's on him, and I'll play this right here where he's beating on him, he's really in. It takes like other guys coming in to kind of help that guy out. Yeah.
Okay. So that Clerk was a lion heart. I have nothing but absolute admiration for him. He's a core clerk. He's not supposed to be punching people. He didn't get hired to punch people. He's a core clerk. It's ridiculous that he's expected to punch people. But if you are going to be punching people,
yes,
know how to throw a punch. I mean, know how to do it. Do listen. The worst person in my BJJ gym could have choked that guy out in 6 seconds. So why is everyone
right
throwing all these weird ass half-ass punches at somebody? Just choke him out. But
it looked like a slap fight. It did look a little bit like a slap fight. Like when they were just kind of
no denigration of the court clerk. He was amazing. Yeah. He had no obligation to engage at all, and he went in there. He threw the best punches he could, and it didn't work that great. But okay, so hopefully he learns.
Yeah. I mean that's sort of the point. Let's see, what was the comment here? Some guy with cancer for $4.99 says, I saw this lady at Walmart screaming at the cashier for not accepting an expired coupon.
Every day in America.
I mean, that's Walmart.
Probably less common in Asia, I would expect. True.
Yeah, that does not happen. Now, there is haggling, but like haggling is part of the culture, right? So it's like, if you go to a market and it's like a street market, you're allowed to haggle if you want to try to haggle it down.
No, but if somebody shows up with the coupon, says, hey, this coupon is 10% off, and the coupon says it expired a week ago.
There's not even a conversation. It's not. No, right. It's not even a conversation. They just literally look at you and turn around and walk away.
Like what the F is wrong with you?
Yeah. I mean, and that's just kind of how people deal with it. The other day, I was out in New Year's and I went to go take a cab, and I know what the rate to get back is. It's like 200 baht, whatever. That's about, I don't know, $6. So I'm like, hey, I'll 200 baht to go to this location. The guy like looks at me. He's like, Happy New Year's, 500. And like just walks away, like just like the cab driver just turns around and walks away. And I'm like, yeah, this guy's, like that's the price. All right. The price tonight is 500. All right, we got it. But they don't mess around and they don't engage in stuff they don't want to engage in. Like if somebody comes with foolishness, they're just gonna rebuke it. Scorpion Black Dragon says, I see Vivek as a very aggressive Bobby Kennedy AG. And as AG? I don't know about Vivek as AG. What do you think about that? I don't think, is he a lawyer? Hold on,
He
let me
is, I
Google.
believe, actually. I believe he went to
Oh,
law school.
okay.
But my problem with him is it's not actually substantive. I don't know anything about him on a personal level. I've never met him, but
Yeah.
I don't feel good about him. I feel he makes me feel like he's a used car salesman, and that makes me uncomfortable. But on the other hand, our current politicians are Satan. so so I feel
So
like I'm
look,
compelled to choose between Satan and a guy I'm vaguely uncomfortable with. Well,
yeah, in a way that you can't like put your finger on exactly.
I
It's
can't.
like, yeah, yeah.
He didn't do anything I can point to that's wrong.
Mhm.
I think he's a
It-
very smart guy. I think he's a guy who would do what I would do if I were doing his mission. Would be
right.
to constantly test messages, try things out, see what worked in the public, which means you have messages out there that ultimately your ultimate target might not like, but you're trying to
Mhm.
focus and refine and get things to where you want to be, where you have the maximum possibility of election. And that's just, I gotta say, I mean, that's just a rational way to go about trying to win an election. Then does it
Right.
feel orchestrated? Well, of course. Does it feel like you weren't George Washington and you were just going to be elected? Yeah, but listen, since George Washington, everyone who's ever been elected has orchestrated their election. I mean, these things don't
It's
happen
just
by chance.
normal.
Right?
Yeah.
Of course.
It's just
So-
what happens now, and it has to happen because of campaign finance.
And just normal human politics. It's not like the loner kid in the third grade classroom suddenly gets elected president. I mean, that's not what happens. The guy who gets elected president is the guy who builds bonds and commitments and emotion and money and gets other people elected. And it's a very dynamic environment. And maybe this dude can pull it off. I don't think so. Not this cycle, but maybe a cycle from now, 2 cycles from now, 3 cycles from now. Sure. Yeah.
He could do it. Yeah, it's possible. It's very possible. Let's see. Millie Smith says it's the height of bravery when you jump in there knowing you could be killed with one punch. I mean, that's yeah. I mean, I don't think the clerk would have been killed, but I think that he could have been injured severely. But yeah, it was brave. It was very brave of him to like jump on that right away. So that was and he is smaller. That little guy was definitely smaller than the dude. The dude was much bigger.
And he was completely inept. Come on.
I mean, yeah. But once again, I did like your comment. If this was a like conservative male judge, there would have definitely been the gun under the bench that would have
Right.
pop
12 gauge. Like
it would have
right.
it would have not gotten that far.
Come on. We all have known judges. If you jump over my bench, 12 gauge right there. Sorry.
Just that's
Right?
it. It's
just
yeah.
you made the
Yep. What is it? What was it? That movie? I forget that movie. With like the Judge Valkenburg or whatever. You know, what's that one? Oh god, it was that older movie. I forget what it was. It was like a it's a crazy movie. But anyways, good old movies. Benjamin Logan says, "What do you guys know about maladministration?" Not
Well,
much. I'm not even sure what you're
it's all maladministration.
right. Like mismanagement. Like, is that okay? Are you trying to sue somebody for that? Right. I think you're talking about like in the UK, there's like a charge for that, but in the US, we have to be more specific, right? So it's not just like, okay, you ran something wrong, but there has to be like a damage. Like, was there a wrongful death? Was there like what was the damages coming from that specifically from that maladministration? So yeah, I think it's a UK thing, although you're in America. So I don't know. All right. Next topic I want to get to. This one is one I pulled onto actually we'll do the Logan Paul one first before we do Trump. So Logan Paul, I didn't want to touch this. I haven't touched this one, and some other people have touched this one. Have you heard it all about this, Andrew?
And Logan Paul is a fighter, right?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yeah. Yes. Logan Paul's a
I-
fighter. So would you buy, Andrew, if he was selling you some weird online game where he was selling you
like a Bitcoin kind of game.
zoo animals, would you trust him with that because he's a good fighter?
Even if I trusted him as a person, I would not trust the system. No,
Right. So
of course not.
So Logan Paul during the whole crypto boom, which was a year, 3 years ago, actually now, of the past 2020s, exactly when crypto is going crazy, everybody had something in crypto, and NFTs, non-fungible tokens, were taking off, which is art that's traded around that has an exclusive number, quote unquote. Even though you can kind of just copy paste it and get the actual art, but you won't get the token. But that being said, he got into this. He got into NFTs, and turns out that his whole project, which was called CryptoZoo, was a scam. And pretty much everybody involved in it was a scammer. Now, the question was, how complicit was he in that? He says he's not complicit. He's filed a countersuit against the other developers, but now he's actually going to refund people. And this has been something that everybody's been waiting for forever, because he's been said he was going to do it.
Is he? That would make a big difference.
He's actually going to, he says he's actually going to do it. He's going to buy back all of those NFTs for their original purchase price through this egg-nft-buyback.com. So he's actually going to pay back. And he says he's going to personally commit more than $2.3 million to buy back the base eggs and base animals from every person who intended to play CryptoZoo. He's disappointed this was not delivered. And then he says he's filed a lawsuit against the bad actors in Texas court. Now, I don't think this is going to get him off the hook. I think when you're involved in something that turns out to be a fraud, you're going to get investigated. You're going to share some of that liability. You can't just say, okay, I'm a fighter, I'm just the money guy, I had nothing to do with this. I mean, yes, that's a reason, but that doesn't get you out of the lawsuit or liability as a whole. So I think this is going to continue on for him, even despite this. And one thing that was also pointed out to me by somebody who went to this website and tried to get their money back is he's not refunding them in cash. He's refunding them in Ethereum. Now, Ethereum
that's total bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. Bronco, you get it right away.
Sorry.
He's not giving them cash. He's giving them crypto. Now, crypto can be converted to cash, but it's got a highly fluctuating price.
If you're going to try to say, listen, I accidentally effed all of you. I accidentally effed all of you out of a ton of money, but I want to make you whole. How do you make them whole? With the money, the actual money, not your bullshit money.
Well, his argument is that they bought into the program with Ethereum, so they're getting it back in Ethereum. But at the same time, it's like it's not the price. But the thing is, he's saying it's original purchase price. That's actually not true, because the price of this cryptocurrency has changed. So the price for Ethereum back in the day was like $4,000. And right now,
you've actually changed my opinion.
Yeah.
So now my opinion is, if you were stupid enough to buy this garbage this guy was selling you, and it turns out to be worthless, I feel like it's kind of on you.
Well, and that's where he was going with part of this. He was saying that, well, some of you were just speculating on making a bunch of money on crypto, right? So yeah, exactly. You guys were gambling. You guys thought that you could make a bunch of money.
You go to Vegas, you lose your money. You don't get the money back.
Exactly. And that's what he's trying to say here. It's supposed to be for people that were trying to get in on the project, not speculate. So to me, look, if you were speculating and you were thinking it's a windfall, that's buyer beware. And one thing I don't like about the whole crypto market and things like what happened with Logan Paul and these scams is, what happens is something goes wrong, buyers get screwed, and then the government decides to step in and regulate everything and everyone. And they over-regulate because some people were idiots or some people got into something and that was on them. I think to me, it's like, look, maybe his refund isn't great, but at the same time, there are certain people that were just speculating and hoping they were, rolling out with a Lambo because they bought one of these CryptoZoo eggs, right? Really, really, in that case, I have a little bit less sympathy. But anyways, that's Logan Paul. So maybe that will put a close to that lawsuit there. Before we get into Trump, Bronca, do you have anything you've been covering or you've been interested in lately that's been rolling around?
Just the usual law self-defense stuff. I mean, people shooting each other. It's a it's a growth industry, unfortunately. People keep shooting each other, but nothing of political dimensions. So I keep waiting for the big case. Nick and you and I might cover.
Oh, whenever there's a big case, I mean, I'm gonna be on it for sure, like white on rice. But there hasn't, frankly, been a big enough one or one that I've been that interested in because I tell people this, Andrew. I mean, and I'm pretty fervent about this. Other people can cover whatever trial they want, but I'm only going to cover one that's either relevant to the topics that I'm covering or I find personally very interesting.
Right there with your brother. So, I mean, for me, if it's not self-defense, it could be popular. It could be politically popular. I mean, it could be Trump. It could be, but
yeah, I don't. If it's a Trump case, okay, I'll cover it because that's big and everyone's interested in it, and I'm interested in it if it's a certain type of Trump case too. Not all of the Trump cases, but some of them I'm interested in. But like,
I try to limit myself to, Andrew Esquire shot some dude in the face. What are the legal implications of that? So
that's pretty good.
I try to focus there. Yeah, well,
that's pretty good. I think you're gonna come. Bronca, I think you're going to come up big when we finally get the Clenny case, the OnlyFans murder case, because she's going to allege self-defense. So
I hope you all join me on that. Frankly, I'll probably do that on Nick's channel, but
that's fine. And I'll be stream.
Yeah.
I'll be stream sniping Nick. I'll be stream sniping Vices. I'll do that. That's my style now. And I'll pop in to join everybody occasionally. But that one is going to be hilarious because it's like this confluence of OnlyFans thoughterry and self-defense in one. You are going to shine in that, Andrew. You're going to absolutely shine, you crazy diamond.
I've actually been following that case for years.
It hasn't gone. It's been, I mean, she's been locked up for years now because she's been preparing this defense. Same thing, by the way, with Sarah Boone, who's going to attempt, I think, both self-defense and battered spouse in Florida. So, and she's going to do it, I think.
Good luck.
Maybe she may end up doing it pro se, which will be absolutely nuts if she does it pro se, because she's gone through like 8 or 9 lawyers at this point. Like the court won't even reassign her because it's. Are
you kidding? Is that true?
No, it's not. That's 100% true. She's gone through like.
Is she out of money?
No. It's just PDs. She's cycling PDs and cycling them. She's saying they won't bring up her defenses. They won't bring it up, and then she'll make up other accusations to the point where they're like, "Look, we can't work with her."
She actually has a good defense. I would argue her defense, but not if she keeps changing her story.
Well, I think that's the problem is she keeps adding Sarah Boone, which is, by the way, guys, in case you don't know, Sarah Boone is the quote unquote suitcase murder, whereby allegedly she put her boyfriend in a suitcase and she was drunk. There's video of her drunk, and he is like asking to be let out, and she's like, "No, that's what you get." And kind of just keeping him in there. And allegedly she went off and was so drunk she passed out, left him in there, and then woke up and he's dead. So yeah, there's that.
Oh my gosh.
There's that. Mario Trujillo says, when I worked for Popeyes, I had a regular who was a judge. Old dude always wore a 44 mag and a massive Bowie knife. He was nice, but scary mofo.
Well, a 44 mag and a Bowie knife will kill you quick.
And he goes to Popeyes. I mean, that's a sign the man does not give a fuck, like about his arteries or blowing a hole in his arteries or blowing a hole in you.
I would actually recommend a 44 special, not the 44 mag. The 44 special is about just as effective on humans and a lot less recoil, but just getting technical there.
personal opinion there. Personal opinion. Let's see. We're cool on Rumble, and I think we're doing good on locals as well. So shout out to all you guys on all those platforms. All right, so let's do Trump first, and then I've got the Disney harassment case afterwards. So I'm going to go through. We're going to go through like the basic arguments here in the. This is the actual filing for Trump. So this is the actual SCOTUS appeal. I don't want to read the whole thing because I think that that's a little bit too extra, but I want to read is just the first syllabus, which is like the overall arguments, which is on the first
Andrew,
3 pages.
Sorry, yeah. I gotta cut out.
Cool.
So,
hey, Andrew,
happy
real
New
quick,
Year,
though.
everybody. Hey, thanks so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Anytime.
And
shout out to Bronca, Law of Self-Defense. Follow him over there. American law courses, great stuff. Happy to be teaching with him. Catch you later, Bronca.
Take care, man.
Peace. All right. Cool. So there we go, guys. Say thank you to your daily dose of Andrew Bronca. All right. So let's get into the syllabus here with these in the Supreme Court of the United States. This is Donald Trump versus Norma Anderson. So this is the Colorado lawsuit. So this is the lawsuit. Reminder here, guys. This is a lawsuit whereby Colorado tried to remove Donald Trump from the ballot, and they had to file this before a certain time to get this thing to get this thing reviewed by the Supreme Court. So now you've got it up here before the Supreme Court. This is the petition for writ certiorari. All right, so here we go. It is a fundamental principle of our representative democracy embodied in the Constitution that the people should choose whom they please to govern them. U.S. Term Limits, Inc. versus Thornton. Powell, quoting Powell versus McCormick. Petitioner President Donald J. Trump is the leading candidate for the Republican Party nomination for the President of the United States. Over 74 million Americans voted for President Trump in the 2020 general election, including more than 1.3 million voters in the state of Colorado. Yet on December 19, 2023, the Colorado Supreme Court ordered President Trump removed from the presidential primary ballot, a ruling that, if allowed to stand, will mark the first time in history, guys. This is the big one here. The first time in history in the United States that the judiciary has prevented voters from casting ballots for the leading major party presidential candidate. Let me repeat that. The first time in history that the leading candidate will be blocked by judges from the ballot in history of the United States. So that raises the question, is Donald J. Trump so bad as to be the worst of the worst, to be worse than any other president that was running at any period of time, including Strom Thurmond back in the day? Worse than Strom Thurmond? Really? I mean, are we, like every single other guy? Come on. In our system of government, of the people, by the people, for the people, Colorado's ruling is not and cannot be correct. This court should grant certiorari to consider this question of paramount importance, summarily reverse the Colorado Supreme Court's ruling, and return the right to vote for their candidate of choice to voters. The question of eligibility to serve as president of the United States is properly reserved for Congress. There it is. And this is what I have been talking about and what I completely agree with. This question is a question for the federal government, not for state courts to decide. By considering the question of Trump's eligibility and barring him from the ballot, the Supreme Court arrogated Congress's authority. In addition, even if the Colorado Supreme Court could consider challenges, which it cannot, it misapplied the law. First of all, the president is not an officer of the court, officer of the United States. He took a different oath than the one set forth in Section 3. That is true. And the presidency is not an office under the United States. Thus, the president falls outside the scope of Section 3. Second, the Colorado Supreme Court erred in describing the president's role in January 6th. It was not engaged in insurrection, and President Trump was in no way engaged in insurrection. That's absolute BS. And third, the proceedings in the Colorado Supreme Court were premature and violated the Electors Clause. All of these things, guys, all of these things by themselves, each reason by itself is enough to overturn Colorado. And I agree with every single one of these analyses here. Most importantly, just the reservation of powers, saying they didn't have the ability to rule on this. Easy. Finally, there are many other grounds for reversal, as many scholars have pointed, including the 3 grounds for reversal presented in the petition for certiorari filed last week by the Colorado Republican Central Committee. So I think that, look, based on these reasons, all of these reasons individually for Trump are so good that I think there's no way that the Supreme Court can't look at those and say, know what? Yeah, we're going to be overturning this. We're going to be overturning this. I think that every single one of those arguments, whether it's the reservation of power, whether it's that he's not an officer of the United States because he took a different oath, because it's not an office under the United States, it's an office that is of itself, and it's enshrined in the Constitution. Also, what happened on J6, we're increasingly seeing, and if you look at polling, if you look at people who talk about J6, we're increasingly seeing it was not even insurrection. It wasn't even necessarily violent. If you look at the incident, people were let into the building. They were let in by security. That has been outed now. That footage is open. Now, by the way, I do think it's kind of BS that we can't get the footage just out there on the internet. I think we should be able to just have those files from J6 on a Dropbox. I don't like that you have to go into DC to like view the J6 footage and like, get your name on a list. Yeah, I don't like that. But hey, at least it's out there now. Man says, love your suits. 5,000 USD, 500 in the United States. Had a couple made for me in Korea. Dude, my Korean suits are fantastic. If you guys see my checkered suit, that one's from Korea. I love that suit. It's one that it's my go-to suit. It's a cold weather suit, so I typically only wear it indoors or outdoors when it's cold, but it is amazing. This suit was made by Jackson Maximus in Miami. Now, this one was one that's made in Hong Kong. So most American suits, this is spoiler for American suit companies, most Americans don't make suits anymore. They ship it overseas to, surprise, surprise, Asia, where there are expert tailors. They have the materials. They make it for cheaper. They send it back. But they do know how to design them. And the folks there in Miami, Jackson Maximus, did a great job of designing my suits. So I got about 3 or 4 suits from them. All of them are fantastic. All of them are fantastic. But over here in Asia, I've had several suits made. I've also had a lot of overcoats, winter stuff made here, for like cashmere stuff. It's been fantastic. So I would highly recommend, if you're coming over to Asia, whether it's Korea, Philippines, Thailand, get some suits made. If you just need 1 or 2 suits, just get them made here. It's going to be cheaper. It's going to be better. And they'll do it in a couple days. Do it in a couple days instead of a month or a week. So that to me is really awesome. So anyways, that's what I got for Trump, guys. I'm not going to kill the bird here, but I think this appeal is going to win. I think this appeal is going to go through, and I think we're going to see a lot of action here in the next couple days from the Supreme Court. So I think we should see next couple of weeks from the Supreme Court. So be prepared for a SCOTUS decision coming up in the next couple of weeks on that, because they've got to handle that ASAP. Now, for our last segment, and let me address this. Before I get into this, I see somebody in the chat saying, it is now moot. President Trump will be on the primary ballot regardless of when the Supreme Court throws out this pathetic ruling. Here's the problem, guys. The precedent. It's not, the thing is, it's got to be overturned because there's precedent in here. This ruling by Colorado, regardless of whether Trump will be on the ballot or not, there's precedent to kick him off the ballot for the general, right? There's precedent to allow that to happen for future candidates. The Supreme Court needs to clearly rebuke this, because this will be an issue in other states, and this will be an issue on the general election, not just the primaries. So this needs to be handled now before we get to the big show, because otherwise all the other states are going to prepare this, all the liberal states are going to prepare this for the general election. So we need to be very, 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 very careful with this, and also set a precedent for future primaries, because they will try to do this. So it is important to get this ruling here. It's not a point where it's not going to matter anymore, or we don't need to care about it. No, you need to care about this. You absolutely need to care about this. Okay, next here we've got Disney. And I didn't think it would happen, but shout out to my man, Mexican Iron Man, who found a little bit of Disney corruption here, a little bit of pixie dust magic in the form of sexual harassment. Oh, Squid says here for 10, the last time the states decided to arbitrarily remove candidates from ballots was when Lincoln was running. Similar levels of corruption then and now. Very, very, very true. And that obviously led to some issues. Led to some issues there, Squid, around the time of Lincoln. All right. So Disney employee accuses company of covering up SA by former executive in new lawsuit. So, of course, Disney, this super woke, great company that is always supporting the right causes, right? Disney is always, they're always supporting women. They're always furthering justice. Well, they're out here with their executives, right, including their vice president of distribution, Nolan Gonzalez, who's accused of sexual assault. So allegedly, according to the employee, she claims she was sexually assaulted by an executive only to have the company retaliate against her for reporting him amid a pattern of sexual harassment. So what she is doing is, I want to see the actual lawsuit. This is just a report on it, so I will try to find the lawsuit. But she's alleging hostile work environment and retaliatory firing. So that's, definitely sexual harassment suit 101. Representatives for Disney didn't respond immediately. Gonzalez could not be reached. According to the plaintiff, Gonzalez escalated his behavior, incessantly asking her on dates. She declined and says he attempted to guilt her into accepting by applying he could help her career. The plaintiff had been warned by other Disney employees that Gonzalez was well known for such behavior, but nothing was ever done. Management was incentivized to hide his harassment because he generated valuable revenue as the director of distribution. Management did not want to escalate concerns to HR and created an environment in which Gonzalez was free to harass women with impunity. Women were discouraged to come forward about his behaviors because management seemingly accepted his conduct as part of the entertainment industry, and the firing would hurt the company financially. In Las Vegas in 2017, Gonzalez begged her to have sex with him in her room. Management was already aware of his lascivious behavior, and he constantly reminded her that he was good friends with them, with management. This culminated. Culminated. Gosh, I'm not awake yet. I'm not on my coffee. With Gonzalez coercing her into a sexual relationship. So she did it. She actually went through with it and did it after being promoted to VP of distribution. He began to provide her with drugs, which the plaintiff believed were MDMA and GHB, so he could sexually abuse her with limited resistance or questioning. Plaintiff said she cut off all contact with Gonzalez in 2018 in retaliation. He told other employees that he had sex with her. To her knowledge, the complaints were not investigated or escalated. Many people in management were aware, and the plaintiff overheard a chairperson at Disney say that Gonzalez was a pervert, and other women at the company felt the same way. In the suit says Gonzalez left the company, retired after 3 other women came forward in 2022. In 2023, the company retaliated against her by demoting her, using massive layoffs as an excuse. Now, this is where, look, I am all there to believe that Disney, a woke corporation, a lot of those people in this corporation that are quote unquote woke or quote unquote supporting these things are actually sort of the male feminist types. And the male feminist types are always the ones to come out and engage in this sort of behavior. They're always the ones that engage in this sort of creepiness. So I am willing to say that they could have cultivated that environment, absolutely, where maybe some of those folks were feeling their roots. However, I will say that very last part there, to be very fair on this claim, whenever I see that the guy was fired, he left the company in 2022, but she's claiming in 2023 the company retaliated by demoting her when they were doing massive layoffs. That part I'm not buying. That part about the layoffs, I don't buy that as much, because the guy wasn't at the company anymore. So that doesn't fit the hostile work environment narrative as cleanly. You'd have to give me more proof for me to believe that. I'd have to see more proof there to believe that. When they laid off people and they lay off you come and call that harassment. Now, that being said, the previous behavior, absolutely believable. If she provides sufficient proof. The one thing I will say in these cases that makes it more complicated is when they enter into a consensual sexual relationship. And it seems like she admits that she was at one point in a sexual relationship with him. And when they're in that relationship, it makes it more complicated. Then now you've got to look at, okay, was there an actual relationship here? But of course, Disney deserves all of the litigation they are going to get trying to prove that, and I will cover this one all the way through. Disney just really can't stop. They just can't stop, and they tend to bring in a lot of creepers into Disney. I can say that from being in Orlando, knowing a lot of these Orlando employees, a lot of weird folks in there. These are the type of guys that will wear the Mickey ears. The guys will slap on the Mickey ears because they want to identify with the girl who's got the Minnie ears on, right? And they think, oh my God, this is going to totally get me laid. Like, look at all these girls doing this. I'm going to do this. It's going to get me laid. They're the snakes in the grass. It's absolutely cringe. And I really, really despise that. But what I don't despise is you guys smashing the like button. We have 454 of you in the house today. Only 225 likes. Let's get to 250. Let's get to 250. That's, I think, where we want to be. Also, while we're getting the 250 likes, I want to give a special shout out to all of you that have come out and have supported Seedy Creek. We are currently with Seedy Creek and the Seedy Creek Project. We are currently at 337% of the goal. We're at $1,685. Now, we are waiting. Now, if we get, I think, a little bit more, I have to look at the goal here. Within 24 hours, so we still have got a little bit of time. If you guys, I think our goal was 1,800. So I think if there's $120 more here, so it's a couple more, 1,800. Rini draws of YouTube and X, she does Fiendish, the comic. She will get a cameo in the Seedy Creek comic. So she gets to put a Easter egg in the comic. So she can choose what that is, one of her characters, something else. We are almost there. So if we get there with 120 else, she's going to get an Easter egg in the comic. We're also going to get, so far we've allowed WW Pro and Jonas J. Campbell are getting an Easter egg. So as these creators support it, as they help us pump this up towards 2,000, we're going to throw them in there as Easter eggs. So this is the Seedy Creek Project. This is, of course, the comic that we're putting out. I'm going to have some updates that are going out today. We're going to have some fun stuff that's going out. We also just got the text for the panels down here. But you guys have come up big for supporting this, and thank you so much. Of course, this is the Steamboat Willie art book that is going to come out supporting exposing the Reedy Creek corruption. Is this live? Thank you for 20 Legal Mindset memberships. And let me give a shout out to all those you hooked up here with these memberships. Just JK, potentially a commenter, Blood Loving Girl, Conrad Smith, RC Pro, God's Favorite Artist, JB Knives. All of you guys, make sure you say thank you to Is This Live. Also, make sure in your settings you have turned on accept gift memberships. Make sure that's on. Terry Scott, Brody Brumfield, Shadow Grave, Matthew Gloverton, Fetigator, Very Bad Habits, Andrew O, Fap Happy Fergus, Bobby McFly, Spartanbot 1001, a Lolcat, Randy V, and Paul Duddleston. All of you say thanks for the membership there. Firm will harass after abusers are gone. Firsthand expert. No, and Paul, I'm not saying that's not possible. I'm just saying I want to see more like proof of that in court, right? So if I'm on the other side of this, I'm pushing for proof of that, because you now have to rebut a layoff. And I don't think, look, a lot of people, they try to use things as a permanent excuse to never be laid off. And I'm like, look, if a company has to lay you off, has to lay off a bunch of people, it's a mass layoff, and they're laying you off, there can be very legitimate reasons for letting you go. Right? There can be very legitimate reasons for letting you go. But that being said, you can be right. Like if your friends are still in power, yeah, you're right. There can be people that fire you afterwards, even after people are gone. It's possible. It's possible, but I need to see evidence. And that's all I'm saying is my standard for Me Too cases and harassment cases is the same as every other case. There's what general patterns are more plausible. And then there's things that you want to see in evidence. You want to see them prove that. And I'm happy to watch that court case and be convinced either way. I'm happy to be convinced either way. But thank you so much, Isis Live, for the 20 Legal Mindset memberships. You guys have been killing it with memberships, and I am going to get right on lickety split getting some more emojis for you guys. Because listen, you guys are just absolutely destroying it here on the Legal Mindset with these memberships. And because of that, we had an epic record month in December for membership. So thank you so much, Isis Live. Thank you for people like Tank Rat, who are just giving a ton of memberships last month. Appreciate all of you guys. So guys, we're at an hour right now. That's all I got today. I will be on tonight. So like it's Friday, right? It's Friday my time, but Friday for Americans, I will be on Friday Night Tights. Now, I have to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. So that is 4 a.m. to be on. So, guys, please tune in and give some love to me for being on at 4 a.m. So definitely give that shout out. Now, I want to give a really quick one here. I don't normally go on panel shows. I don't like going on panel shows. But this is the only time I've been on there. I haven't been on that show before. I don't commit to being a regular on panel shows. I think panel shows usually have a lot of drama, but it's FNT, and it's been something I wanted to hop on for a while. A lot of guys I've wanted to talk to for a while. So, and we're going to talk about Seedy Creek. We're going to talk about Disney. We're going to talk about all the craziness. So, guys, stay tuned for that. Give some love to me and the Mindset Squad, BLM. I want to see BLMs in the chat tonight on FNT. That said, guys, take care, take it easy, and I will catch you all later. Peace.